not there.
Do you want to like?
I'll just sit like this. It's fine.
You just can't.
Well, you're a big Lance Armstrong fan. I think that's why you're wearing it, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, it's ironic, right? It's not.
I can't say any political. Can't say anything political.
Oh no.
Okay, so today we're talking about South Africa.
Yep. Johannesburg, am I right? Cape Town.
Yeah. So wait, sorry, because you were creating a South African mogul. I'm creating Chaozu. And wait, who are you creating? What's your character today?
Well, to step back, so we're creating characters in the service of creating a faction using the grid system. So this is a special just interruption episode because
it's not called Swaziland anymore.
Welcome to the Sometimes Stream. I'm your host, Monkey D. Luffy.
What to
it's
do?
Called Eswatini.
Yeah. So I guess the idea is that we're each characters in a world, and then also we're a faction as a group, and the faction has scores kind of like characters have scores, and then there's other factions and they have scores like characters. And the idea is in any of the grid system games we're going to have faction level play, just like individual scene level play, and you can go back and forth between the things. My idea at simplest is just you could have faction level play at the beginning and end of a session, and then in the middle you're doing your usual murder hobo picaresque session of scenes with characters.
But so you're sort of saying essentially for the beginning and end of a session, it's more like playing a game of, say, Risk or like an RTS or some sort of game where you are controlling many people in many places.
Exactly. You're playing society, or the aspect of society your group cares about as some sort of, it could be sort of more political, or it could just be this band of merry travelers in the sort of airship Final Fantasy, or like DBZ way we were talking about. There's lots of characters around. You don't always see them. They don't always participate in any given fight, but they're there. They're ready to help. So what are they doing?
But in the DBZ way, it's sort of like there's a whole group of people hanging out at Master Roshi's house and like commentating on what they're seeing on TV.
Exactly. So that's one way to do it. And then I think what we're going to eventually try to do is have more interruptions where the two levels like interact. So if you imagine like up here is faction level and down here is scene level, there's like a V version where most of the time you're at the bottom of the V. But there's also, I'm sure, some other more W or zigzag shapes where for various reasons you can affect the faction and or they can affect you in the middle of the game. And that's just stuff where rules wise, those rules don't exist. So right now the rules are like more straightforward, two different levels. And we're still trying to figure out the very basics of like, if you're scene level characters, so matters in Stillfleet or heroes, adventurers in Sometimes Kingdom, or critters and blister critters, like do a thing that helps their faction, then the faction gets a bonus next time, right? Or if they do something that hurts their faction, the faction is screwed up. Right. That seems simple, like mechanically, but I think the zigzag will be fun, and it's just a question of like how much would people want to do that. So these are like brand new rules. That was what I was pitching before we went live. Anyway, the idea that we could like make one and see what y'all think. And I like.
Have you played Paranoia?
I have played Paranoia, yeah.
It makes me think of the factions in Paranoia, where mechanically during the game, essentially they're just like someone who will show up and someone who will show up and tell you like it's your job to do this thing. Like here is a goal, like you have to, blow up this room, or like you have to unlock this door for us to like get in later. And so you essentially have a sub mission or side quest or something that you get in trouble if you don't do, and you get in trouble if you do, but with someone else.
Yeah, and I think one way to do it would be to have a board game like distribution of points where the GM can burn some kind of moves so that factions can make your faction do stuff, and then in the scenic level you as characters can respond, and maybe you all can do certain amount of activities that either it's through grit or through some narrative achievement, like it'd be like a bulleted list of things that would actually matter. So it's like kill a member of another faction or something, right? And that would actually detract from that faction mechanically. Those things are not synced up, so those rules don't exist, but we did make rules for the factions themselves. So we sort of right now have just two different levels. We have like all the individual games that are scene based, individual based, and then we have these overarching rules for just generic, like, what is a faction, which need to be play tested. So we were talking before we went live about doing it in sort of a version of Dragon Ball Z without triggering lawsuits as much as possible, but just kind of like a wacky version of Earth with, you know, sort of anime powers. I think
this is, of course, the faction is not the Z Warriors or the Dragon Team or whatever other sort of trademarked Akira Toriyama phrases are for the cast and characters of the Dragon World, but rather this is what did you call it? You had a fake name.
Serpent
Angola?
Orb. Why? Angola? It's a Jeff, Jeff, do you want to jump in with your version of this world? Do you want to add a fact about the world before we make our...
No, I do not. I'm fine.
Is it Earth, though? So it's basically like modern Earth, it sounds like. A version of.
I will say Angola is a real place.
Right.
I think.
Yeah, that's a country.
Awesome. Well,
But Angola's in this world. Also,
it's in this world. Yeah, I don't know that any of us know enough to represent like people from that nation, but yeah, it's a version of Earth and sort of science fantasy. And Vex is reminding us people have spiky hair, harem pants, and their girlfriends have bowl cuts. So it sounds like it's sort of a serpent orb situation.
Or boyfriends.
Or boyfriends, yeah. Yeah, you can choose. The gender and your spikiness or boldness of hair are not linked in any way.
It's a little sus that Trunks, Android 17, and Android 18 have such similar hairstyles.
Trunks has to me the most iconic hair for some reason on the show. I mean, obviously the spiky hair of the Super Saiyans is iconic, but
yeah,
I feel like I could draw Trunks. All right, so we'd each make a character. It doesn't really matter if we're not going to play the scenes out. And this isn't even an established game. We don't have a plot. But what would matter is then making a faction together. And so I don't know if we want to have individual characters who then like have something in common, I guess, that would, dictate what our faction is. So like maybe we should have characters basically to drive that.
Well, and I would sort of contrast that with, if we're thinking of sort of the Dragon Ball Z style faction, one of the cool things about the like cast of characters in that show is they have very little in common at first, and then what unites them in common is their participation in the adventures of the show. And so they're all sort of a very vast and strange and dissimilar cast of characters who, one of them is a little monkey boy from the woods who is like a very strong hick. One of them is a Chinese ghost. One of them is a perverted old man who's also a martial arts master, right? Like these people meet through various ways. One of them's an alien who's also a demon.
Touche.
And the reincarnation of a guy who tried to kill all of them.
Well, in that sense, we should pick then. Okay, so what you're proposing, if I'm interpreting this correctly, is that actually the right way to create characters in the Toriyama-esque grid system game we've not ever actually written is you just make up random characters and then you arbitrarily pick a situation, and that situation that the sort of contours their Pika-esque experience, that is their faction, right? Their faction is we're all fighting the aliens, right? In Serpent Orb. Okay, in that case,
not like The Sopranos, where they're a faction because they're all Italian Americans.
No, right. It doesn't have to. No. There's no bioessentialism or anything. It's situational. I totally get it. It's because they're in the mob. So I will just be a small black and white forest animal who can transform into a really ripped version where all my hair stands on end.
Is this character named perhaps Legumes?
Yeah.
So are you bald, or are you bowl cut, or are you spike?
I think I'm bald. I think I'm a bald skunk. Like,
oh.
So it's kind of gray. If you've ever seen a shaved cat, they just have sort of like it doesn't really have like a normal, I don't know. It just looks like kind of gray skin. And then, and maybe I do have fur otherwise, but I'm like a balding skunk. But then when I go super...
But not like a tonsure.
Yeah. Okay, it's a little bit of a Friar Tuck tonsure situation. But then the hair comes back. It's like a crazy, like, golden toupee that explodes off my head when I become powerful.
It's like a vulture becoming an eagle.
Oh yeah. But I think I fight with vultures. I think we compete to scavenge in the woods. But yeah, so I'm a forest critter, and I think I'm a cantankerous old forest critter who believes he's very wise, but is probably just foolish.
All right. Actually,
Do you want to go next, Jeff, or should I go next?
I gotta look up characters from Journey to the West.
Okay, great. I'm a Chinese ghost. I'm a fucked up little child-sized man, and nobody knows how old I am. I wear a little hat, but if I take the hat off, I have one very long and thick curly hair coming out the top of my head. I have completely pallid skin. I'm like, I think Chatsu is. I'm sorry, I don't know who I'm talking about.
I'm pretty sure he's not a ghost. He's just a guy.
I think he's a vampire. But I think
you think he's a vampire?
He's based on a Chinese vampire. Yes.
Oh, right.
It's not exactly a vampire, but it's the same kind of monster, sort of mythological monster.
I think in V5, it's they count as vampires.
A hungry Casper.
Of Vampire the Masquerade, I mean.
Like an undead creature who you don't want to deal with. And the other thing is he always floats around because I think they can't walk. They have to hop. Like some sort of strange little bug person. So I think, I hop around and, I'm otherwise, I appear as a cute child until you get a little too close and you're like, that's a creature of some sort that wants to, I don't know, suck blood, steal souls, this kind of stuff. Because I'm a vampire ghost from mythology, sort of vaguely remembered. And I never do anything bad unless you don't realize it. And I wear a cute little green outfit.
Cool. I think so. Apparently, just Googling it, the name from this type of character in folklore is Jiangxi.
Jiangxi.
So, and it is apparently canonical that technically Chaozu is not a Jiangxi. He's just modeled on a Jiangxi. So he's drawn as though he is a sort of chibi, cute version of this specific kind of Chinese vampire zombie. But then he's not actually. He's just like a dude. But you can be whoever you want in this new version we're calling Serpent Orb.
Listen, they just decided that Mr. Popo has horns, so they can do anything they want.
Yeah, there's a lot of evolution within the canon, which is great. We love to see it. Jeff.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be a shape-shifting pig. What class am I? I'm gonna be a natural. A naturalist? We're not actually putting mechanics to these yet, right?
Your character's mechanics won't matter, but I do think it is interesting. It is an interesting outstanding question of how your character's like choices would inform the faction. So I think it's fine to think of it, and maybe that's useful for Sometimes Kingdom purposes here on the Sometimes stream to think about our classes. So I'm going to be named Cayenne, and Cayenne the skunk will be. Well, I was going to be a naturalist, but if you want to be, then I will be something else. So you should pick first.
Yeah, no, I'm going through the rule book right now, so I'm figuring out what class I want to be, because that's a good idea to have one of those things.
I could be a dog. I could be a Chierigan instead, actually, if you want. I think that was one of my original character concepts, was to be a Chierigan, and then we ended up not doing that at all.
You're a bone saw surgeon, a fixer upper.
I guess so. Or would I rather be a books major? We haven't seen one yet.
I'll be an ex-journeyer. I can teleport. I ended up on Yardrat, and they taught me their cool secret technique, and they gave me some spiffy duds, but they're still green.
Yeah, I'll be
a. Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
I'll be a Chierigan. Yeah.
Okay.
And I have like a face I can change with surgery. I do quick surgery.
Ooh, are you bandaged up? Like, this is like the noir hero who's always like bandaged that I'm thinking of, like a 90s movie.
Hush from Batman.
Maybe, yeah.
He's a villain, but yeah.
The guy from
So
that new game, Mouthwashing.
I think that's the captain.
I haven't played it. I've just seen that there's a guy.
I think he's I think he's supposed to be the captain. I'm scared. I'm too scared to play horror games. So even though I would like the game, it might be there's too much scary in it for me to play.
But so your character could be a little spooky. It is Spooktober after all.
Yeah, it's a quick change magic act, but it's surgery. Yes, that is the concept we're going with. Yeah.
Excellent. So we have sort of a human who can change appearance. We have.
Oh, I was a pig.
Oh, you're a pig, right? Sorry, a man-like pig.
Maybe I'm a pig of a man.
I mean, different interpretations of Journey to the West. I think also how metaphorical the pig is at different points. I think it even changes in the story, if I recall correctly.
It makes me think of in Snowpiercer, Tilda Swinton apparently brought a pig's nose on set during the first day of filming and was like, "Oh, so my character's gonna have a pig nose. So can you put these on me in makeup?" And then I Bong Joon-ho was like, "We can't do that one." Hey, you can't wear that.
He's like, I love you, I love you, Tilda. I love what you bring to the table, but no,
you can't wear that.
And then she didn't even get to wear one in Okja.
Oh yeah, she's not the
pig
animal in Okja, right?
She's trying to capture it in Okja. She's like the CEO of
the meat company. Yeah.
Oh man, now I gotta watch Okja.
It's like they make like a super cow that will be like perfect for mass factory farming, but they like give a family like the cow to take care of, and they like the cow, and then the cow gets stolen away to get turned into meat for like a corporate demonstration, and they're like, no, bring the cow back, and so they go and save the cow. That's the film.
And this has been an Okja podcast. No, that's great. Okay, so we have a man-sized pig who can change face. We have a sort of Jiangxi-esque spirit, and we have a talking skunk who can become ripped. We are a faction. One idea is we're a faction because we've come here from another realm, perhaps even a place where the seasons are islands. And Ben's character has brought us through to this place. Which is more Earth-like, some version of Earth. I'll also open to other ideas, but that's just one reason why we would all be together and all be like hanging out.
Yeah, right. I used instant transmission to bring us to sort of outside Newark, New Jersey, next to a pork shop called Satriale's.
And Satriale is the king of New Jersey in this world.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Well, then that gives us this.
We don't have to be in New Jersey.
No, we're in New Jersey. It doesn't have to be anything like our New Jersey. We're in a New Jersey. So the way we make factions is just like characters. They have 5 scores, and they're similar. They're parallel scores. So they're not exactly the same. We gave them different names because they represent groups of people doing stuff, but same ideas. So we're gonna assign some dice to scores. Also, factions do kind of have classes in that there's 10 combinations of adding up 2 of the scores to determine your grit. So that sort of implies like different kinds of factions that are good at different stuff. We're still working on the names and like how much that matters and if we like that idea at all. But it does give some type. Like if you're good at war versus knowledge, right, that'd be a different kind of group of people. So there it makes some sense. But basically the scores are warfare, resilience, knowledge, morale, and influence, and those correspond to, in the rest of the grid system, combat, movement, reason, will, and charm. But they're things that socially you can do or be. So like resilience is like movement in that it's all of your resources and how much you could like recover from setbacks or like do stuff in general, in the same way that movement is your whole body as a person and all of the things other than harming people that you would do with your body. Resilience is like all the stuff you as a faction would do materially other than going to war. Warfare is its own thing. And then the other 3 scores is like what you're doing most of the time. So knowledge is like creating science or technology. Morale is like generally how happy people are within your faction to be part of your faction and how much they can resist like outside influence. And then influence is like charm, right? It's like how much can you influence other people? And those are asymmetric on purpose. So you could be influential, but like have a weak morale, like a weak spirit as a group.
Right.
And if you ever worked in office, there's places where like it's a little culty, people are kind of on the same page. And there's places where people have kind of low morale. Or like a school or anything, any situation. So these are sort of meant to be like general social tropes. This itself is not like a political flex. This is just mirroring the games we already have, but at the level of like a group of dudes instead of a dude.
Right. How do you make 100 people have a move score? You don't. They don't move together.
Right. Exactly.
They do things like that. Yeah. The move score can be used to dodge. Well, a group can dodge accountability.
Exactly. That's well said. So that would mean that we're assigning the same kinds of scores, but to those things. So we should decide, first of all, like what is our faction? So I always start when I'm like with Stillfleet, for example, and I've also done this for Blister Critters, and now we need to do it for Summery Kingdom, is come up with, all right, what are the names of some factions? And I give them little nicknames, even really try to compress it to like just the essential idea, and then give them like a one sentence like ideology, like what is it they want as a group? What kind of defines them? Often like what's their leader, where's their headquarters, and the scales can vary a lot. So like in Stillfleet there's the entire company as a faction, but also it has lots of sub factions that we also have given scores to. The scores basically just keep getting stepped down in dice types, right, until you get to like just some void miners, some space marines. So our faction is going to have lower scores to start, and then we can actually get higher scores by like fighting or working with other factions to improve our scores, basically. So it's sort of like leveling up. That again, to be tested, but you can imagine that the entire kingdom of New Jersey has like D20s or D100s, right? Like if we wanted to fight everyone in New Jersey, we would be in trouble, in theory.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I'm thinking of real world factions, right? Like you could have a very small faction. Let's say, that you're just one guy, but you pretend you're a lot of guys and you have a lot of influence, and you can be sort of the Dallas, Texas Fair Play for Cuba committee, and then perhaps even assassinate the president of the United States.
Yeah, exactly. So it works with real life pretty well, right? You can model a lot of situations. So I guess the first question before we sign dice is like, what's our faction as a group? So we know who we are as individuals. What's our deal? Do we have a thing that we like to do?
I think Vex said we're a cult and we have no morale, but people are too scared to leave.
So we're a cult. We have fringe religious beliefs.
We don't need religious, we just say fringe ideals.
This is a strictly non-religious cult.
Yeah,
sure.
We're making a secular cult.
This is the cult that has like the coexist bumper sticker.
Oh yeah, I got that tattooed. If you shaved my skunk pecs, I would have coexist, all of the symbols tattooed.
But like violently
having that
coexist.
tattooed there actually made your chest hair grow back. Yeah.
We need to violently coexist with people, I think. Or aggressively coexist with people.
Yeah, that's called the World Martial Arts Tournament.
Yeah. We're like a really aggressive Yimbys.
That's called the World Martial Arts Tournament.
Okay.
But they build a bigger stadium for it after Piccolo destroys it.
Huh? And that last one wasn't very good.
Oh, the Boo one? No, I mean, they didn't really do anything.
All right, there was another one. Never mind, that one was all right.
I don't even remember if I've seen. How old are the movies you're describing or shows?
This is Dragon Ball.
No, I know it's Dragon Ball. I'm saying like which. This is off topic, but which show or movie is this?
It was
30
like
years
87
ago?
to 97, if I remember correctly.
Like in America or
it was
in
about
Japan?
10 years that it aired, and then GT I think aired for another year.
Oh yeah, GT was right after. Yeah.
I mean, they basically aired it as a continuation. They just like renamed it again, like when they renamed Z, and it wasn't based on the comic because the comic had ended.
Right. Well, anyway, that's all on some other planet. On the planet we're on, all right. So we're a cult with fringe organic chemistry beliefs. Do we have a leader? Is it just the three of us? Are there other people? Are we like unhoused, living under a bridge near this Italian sandwich shop.
Wait, the sandwich shop is on the bridge. That's what, like the checkpoint?
I don't know, Ben. You want to situate us more? Sort of, what's our social situation?
Yeah, well, we live in the pork shop mostly. It's not owned by us, but
It's a pork shop.
It's a pork shop. Yeah, you
Like for
you
Taylor
buy,
ham.
it's like a deli. Yeah,
Okay, but like, do we call it Taylor ham or something roll? Pork
I think
roll.
pork roll. Yeah, I think
We call it a pork roll shop. Okay.
Yeah. They got pork roll. They got. I think it's mostly pork roll. Well, because I feel like in true Alto's fashion, it's owned by someone else, but through some business dealings, we get to basically be there all the time and operate it and have all of their profits and do anything we want in there.
Right. Okay, so we're sort of based out of a meat shop, a butchery of some kind, and we're a cult. Okay, it's going great. Is there some unifying thing, like a threat to Earth or a threat to our community, or thing we want to do, like a positive thing we're trying to achieve that brings us together?
As a positive thing? A positive in what way? Like we're additive or subtractive from things, or positive as in we leave people better than we found them?
Either. Like we could build a thing which could mean we're leaving people better than we found them. It could just mean, I guess, maybe we're, idolaters or monumentalists, and it's not really.
Well, that or like one of us has an alien brother who kidnaps our son, and then we defeat him with an old enemy, but then find out that his friends are coming to, try to get the magical serpent spheres.
So a fringe organic chemistry belief, I guess. What's it called? Is it homeopathy? What's the one where you dilute it?
I mean, homeopathy is just like medicine that's not based in science, mostly.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's
that's a fringe organic chemistry belief, I think.
Taking poisonous stuff and like testing your body so you sort of build up like immunity, and it's not really biomedicine, doesn't really work super well. So
it's like that guy who made the bug bite pain scale by getting bitten by every bug.
Yeah, exactly.
How many times did you get bit by every bug though?
I don't know. I think probably just one.
All right, I don't think that's. That's good.
It's probably Googleable, but like one bite from a bullet ant is like enough pain to potentially kill you, send you into shock or whatever. So like it needs some. If it was like done in an uncontrolled way and you just like got bit by a bunch of bullet ants, like it's probably pretty bad to establish that end of the scale. Getting bitten by the ladybug or whatever was probably fine on the other end, but
this is like a Mr. Beast video. I got bitten by 100 bullet ants. Or I guess that would be like $6,000 to get.
Wait, that's a cult.
100 bullet ants.
That's a cult, actually.
Oh, so we work for Mr. Beast.
We
are Mr. Beast.
Do not work for Mr. Beast, but we can change that. It's more about. I was going to say it could be about the pork shop also being kind of medicinal because you're a surgeon and we're doing homeopathy, so maybe small amounts of chopped butts are like good for people, and we're kind of selling like traditional pork-based medicines, which like. Whatever, maybe that's a thing. But yeah, no, we could also just be a cult that's about pain, I guess. That's metal. This is going in a different direction than sometimes Kingdom or Serpent's Orbs.
Serpent Spheres? Serpent's Orbs.
Serpent Spheres. Yeah, sure. Is one of us the leader? Do we have... I kind of think there's someone else who's the leader. Could be an old person, could not be an old person. Could be a computer.
It could be a baby.
It could be a baby, sure. Let's flip it on its head.
And the idea is that we have to raise the baby to be the best baby.
Oh, we also have to follow the orders of the baby.
It's three dads kind of a scenario.
Yeah, 3 men and a baby, you mean.
3.5 men.
Yeah, let's talk about old movies.
Okay, great.
Did I mention that my character is played by Charlie Sheen, but he's been digitally downscaled to look like a child. I'm
Tom Selleck.
Well, then I definitely know what's happening to set off. So episode 1 of Ophidian Orb Y is, you see the awesome logo, snake, pun intended, across the screen, and you zoom in on Alto's Chopped Butts butcher shop, and you see that all of us are looking for the baby, and we cannot find the baby. What's the baby's name?
Gohan. No.
Rice ball.
Rice Ball. Great. We cannot find Rice Ball, and we just realized that Rice Ball has been stolen, and has been stolen pretty clearly by some other faction. So what is that other faction, and what is the clue that tells us that Rice Ball has been taken from the Chopped Butt station?
What about the Vermilion Streamer Squad?
Okay,
the battalion. The Vermilion Streamer Battalion.
Are they? I'm imagining like the Foot Clan in TMNT. Like these are like red ninja, like red tracksuit streamers who like jumped into windows and then took the baby and jumped out.
They have like the ninja masks, but the ninja masks all have like the YouTube thumbnail face on it.
That's and the baby is our boss, right? So the baby's intelligent. The baby's like smoking a cigar or something. He's like, "Hey, what the?" And
I was thinking it's more like we're trying to raise the baby to be the next Messiah, but not in a non-religious way.
I see.
Oh, we're sort of the viziers.
Controlling
the kingdom.
The idea is that the king will, once we raise it correctly, will bring peace on Earth or something.
Oh, this feels
Lisa
very
Gaib,
yeah, like a reverse journey to the West, I guess, because instead of us following someone to gain enlightenment, we're trying to put enlightenment all into one baby from our.
We're the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah. We're just, we're just people who've been hired, probably using an app to do work for rich people that they don't want to do, which is in this case 18 years of raising a child. So we need to find that baby.
That is a terrifying app idea.
Yeah, it's one button, you click one time.
Yeah, parenter.
Yeah, no E.
It's not adopter.
I mean, it's not a legal adoption. It's just take my child for a while, and I don't have to worry about it.
Minder.
Yeah. We have two factions at least in play. We have the Vermilion Streamers who took the child for whatever reason. We don't know their politics yet. And then we have the King of New Jersey who will kill us if we don't get back the child. Or we'll start sending outlandish assassins to kill us, I guess I should say.
Right.
So, and again, the goal is not to actually go scene by scene, but to figure out at a faction level what factions do. So I think this is a good time to assign scores. So there's 3 dice arrays that we could use to assign scores. I will put them in the chat.
Great.
And these are all, oh, no, there's no breaks. Forget that. Ignore that chat.
But I assume that they are groups of 4. Am I seeing that right?
It would be 5 because there's 5 scores. So you can either do, I'll just read them off. You can imagine.
Can you is there a way you could there's no infographic you could put on the screen, can you?
Wait, I think I got it.
I could, but I would have to make one, and with zero prep, not really.
Here we go. I got it. I put slashes in the middle.
Fixed it. So
in the middle of the.
We can either do sort of in the middle, which is like 2 d8s and 3 d6s. This is again just to start, and then your scores can go up, or you can have a d4 and then bump one of the d8s to be a d10, or you can have a d4 and have 3 d8s and only 1 d6. And the idea is that an average group of sort of competent professional humans at a scale determined by the game. So in Stillfleet, I'd say it's like 6 to 10, like a group of void miners would be like all d6s.
Is a small gang.
It's like a gang, or I'm calling them crews in that game, right? So a crew is like up to 10 people. You have d6s, and you would the next level up would be like 50 to 100 people, like a small to medium organization, and they would have all d8s. And so already, because again we're sort of heroes, we're meant to have some ability to, as a group, change the world more than the average group of 10 friends who are like, let's start a podcast or whatever.
Right.
And then it goes all the way.
Terrible. 10 friends start a podcast. How are you?
That's
10?
you
And
know,
this
there's
is
a lot of
10
voices.
friends, and they all have
They're not friends by
identical
the end.
voices.
They all talk the exact same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're all
I
from the
think-
same fucking place.
This is another faction in our world. Is like 10 guys in New Jersey with a podcast. So I don't know if they could be allies of the streamers or enemies of rivals of the streamers. I don't know. Let's find out.
We're gonna find out.
So there are 5 scores. We have to assign them. I can put them in the chat.
I'm a fan of the first array, I think.
Yeah, I think I am too. I like being bad at something and good at something.
Yeah, I think if we were bad at what did Vex say? Morale?
You're terrible morale. We all want to leave this group.
Oh,
Yeah,
that totally.
how cohesive are we towards this mission? Very not. We all have very different ideas of how the kid has to be raised, for example, I would say.
Well, right, and this is not our kid. We just are doing it for gig app work.
Right. I'm training Riceball to be the greatest fighter ever, but I feel like you all don't want Riceball to be a great fighter necessarily.
Well, I want him to be a great doctor. If he's a fighter, he's going to fuck up his hands. Or her hands. I don't know. I mean, I guess Riceball could be
The doctor was his mother. And
yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to teach Riceball to be a vampire.
So we have the faction called 10 Friends. We have the Red Streamers. We have the King of New Jersey, and our faction, which we need to name. I guess unless we just want to call us.
I thought it was Ophidian Orbs.
Oh, Ophidian. Well, that's the show, but sure. Okay, we're the Ophidian Orbs. We have low morale. So if we pick, you want to go with the first array and say we have D4 morale. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is what I am proposing. Yeah.
Great.
I think it's great.
How good are we at fighting?
I want to say these are our best or our second best. That's what I want. I want our knowledge to be high. But and our resilience can't be that good because people just fucking walked up to our place and broke in.
That is true. I think we are not good at resilience either. So D6?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay. And influence D6 because we're new and we're not actually that convincing or whatever. We're just like broke app people who squat at a butchery.
Yeah.
So, okay, we have a D8 and a D10 to assign to either warfare, 1 to warfare and 1 to knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of warfare being a D10, given that we are an amalgamation of the cast of Dragon Ball, The Sopranos, and 2.5 Men.
Mm.
Which feels...
I would watch that anime, right? Dragon Men? Come on.
2.5 Men. I
think unfortunately that's a hentai. But
I think there was a show called Buddy Daddies where they accidentally killed this girl's 2 assassins accidentally killed this girl's father and tried to raise her.
Is it sort of like Raising Arizona?
Well, it came out like last season. Not last season. No, not last season. It came out 2 years ago, probably now. It's called Buddy Daddies. It was pretty good.
I mean, I would watch a Raising Arizona anime.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I definitely would want to see Nick Cage like go Super Saiyan in some way, whatever within that anime. You know, do the sort of bullet
Ghost
time,
Rider,
Ghost in the Shell.
Oh yeah, I guess he's already done it.
I would say when he turns into the Ghost Rider, he's basically going Super Saiyan.
Oh, he is Ghost Rider. You know, I always forget that. He says he's got such range. All right, well, let's say so. Warfare D10. We're gonna say we're the fightiest people around, basically.
We are so good at destroying things.
Great. So that leaves knowledge at D8. So,
given that we are based on, I can gather Oolong, Chaozu, and Puar, the 3 strongest characters.
Yeah.
Well, they're stronger than any random character. Not any random character, but than most people. They're still stronger than most people in that world.
I wouldn't say Oolong is.
Oolong terrorized an entire town of people.
Well, I guess we're gonna set that aside, because we're here in Obsidian Orbs and we've never heard of any of the characters you just mentioned.
That's a good point.
We have to determine our faction grit, or F grit, which we might need to rename, but we're just calling faction grit for now. It's the combination of our two highest scores. Sorry, not our two highest scores necessarily. It's just 2 scores, depending on type. So if we picked our 2 highest, which are warfare and knowledge, that would correspond to specialist type, which is kind of a catch-all because, who's really good at fighting and knowing things. I was going to say like technical, but it made less sense at the fantasy games. But other ones would be like, for example, resilience and influence would be criminal organizations tend to have a lot of resilience and influence. Whereas like morale and influence would be like cultural, like an arts organization. Knowledge and influence would be like scholarly. So the different types are, based on essentially what kind of organization would be good at that thing. So if we picked specialist, then it would be, we'd start with 18 grit, which is a good amount for a faction. Do we want to do that, or do we want to play against type and say we are a different type of group? I kind of feel like we are, in the sense that it means like assassin in this context, like specialist. But what do y'all think?
We could be cultural if you want.
So we're an arts organization, and we.
Oh, my bad. I was thinking about cult.
Oh, that would be like religious, like knowledge and morale. So that would be sort of in the middle, right? 12 grit to start. I think
we're secular.
The question is like, right. Well, then what are we driven by? Like, is there ideology? So we're not religious if it's not driven primarily by ideology that is about, some supernatural commitment, right? It's if we're trying to do, I guess it depends what we're trying to do. We could just be trying to learn and we'd be scholars.
I think this is our morale problem. Is I think we don't have a. We're all here for different reasons.
Well, the faction has to be here for one reason, to literally just determine how much grit we have. I don't think there's any value to Vex's point. I think it would be purely a matter of this is backmapping existing factions in the world of Stillfleet onto things. So we were sort of assigning them types independent of the scores, because some of them are like, criminal organizations, religious organizations, or different kinds of state militaries. So we're trying to kind of represent a already inhabited fiction, whereas what we're doing now with Obsidian Orbs is totally different. So we'll just start with 18 grit. That's fine.
Yeah, I guess if there's not like type specific powers, and I guess we could just be specialists.
That I think would be the reason. Yeah, exactly. Is powers, which there aren't right now, but that would be a thing. We could make that up. So I'm gonna write that down as a question mark. Okay. So for now, all we can do is basic stuff because we just made up these rules. I should say this is a big shout out to Tim Rudloff and Chris Pickett, who've been working on this. So you can attack, which costs grit. Defending does not cost grit. You can try to do environmental control, like changing the environment. You can do research. You can change your own internal, like you can work on yourself, which in Stillfleet terms is to do with hustle and telos of like individuals. But for our sense, it would be like figure out like what we're doing and come to some agreement. You can recruit retainers, try to grow like the number of people. You can build up in various ways, which involves eventually you can change your scores basically. You can spy. You can use diplomacy. You can do social engineering, like change, like throw a festival, try to trigger an audit of some kind of, like restaurant you don't like. You can prepare, like save grit for like basically boost. You can like use grit now to later boost rolls. And it all comes down to eventually you're rolling dice against other factions, and generally you're always going to be rolling opposed. You'd win ties if you start the action, but if it were unopposed for some reason, the default difficulty is still 6, so it's same as the rest of the grid system. It's just a bunch of dudes. So those are just some of the things we came up with and mechanicalized. Those are like the basic actions that any faction should be able to do. And again, this was meant to work for both sci-fi and fantasy, so that's why the names are a little abstract. But like attacking, defending, yeah, we can figure it out.
Auditing feels grounded in the real world also.
That example is written here as one example of what you could do with social engineering. You could that's just, you're spending 5 grit to change your local social conditions. I think this is kind of a catch-all where you use influence kind of to charm the people, but it's not charming other factions. It's giving, so what does it do? It
sort of like it's not in a faction is the idea.
Yeah, it's not against another faction. It's against. So this is a 6+ or higher difficulty, depending on what you're trying to do. But on a success, everyone has to deal with what you've created, or you deal with a problem someone else has created. So it's sort of a narrative, like up or down.
So if we kill congestion pricing,
Too soon, Ben.
Oh, that's the bridge.
the bridge from Newark to Manhattan.
The bridge can't be built because there's a fucking deli on it.
Oh, we won't sell our property to the state, to the king. So there's like a bridge halfway to us, and it just stopped.
Yeah, so Penn Station has to just like
We're a
fuck around
spite
here.
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can do these other things. So there's spying and
So we do have to save the
counter-espionage.
baby. Is there like an assault option?
Yeah, so there's different kinds of attacks. So you can use attack to basically reduce the die type of another faction, and you can choose, depending on what you're trying to do, you would do different actions, right? So if you want to reduce their warfare die by one type, you would blow up their arms depots. If you wanted to reduce their resilience, you would try to seize land, like take stuff from them. If you wanted to reduce influence, you could reveal their weaknesses to everyone, like make people turn against them. So we're trying to think through, it got pretty gnarly pretty quickly, but like what realistically does warfare look like, and how would you have simplified rolls where you're rolling one die and someone else is rolling one die and you're not doing risk level math. And yeah, basically that's the idea. So if we wanted to steal the baby,
I mean, I think warfare between factions is pretty much like in West Side Story, right? Like you just have two groups of guys dance at each other and snap, and then one of them wins.
yeah, snapping might be covered by I think that's trying to influence. So influencing is either spying or diplomacy or social engineering. So spying is you're rolling basically influence, they're rolling resilience, because you're trying to learn something physical and they're trying to keep it from you. Diplomacy is like you're trying to convince them. So you're rolling influence, they're rolling morale.
Yeah.
Like maintain their own ideological coherence. And then social engineering is that weird narrative one where it's like Vex is pointing out, maybe that's like you're trying to change how people think about one thing, and it's not really like changing the scores of a faction or whatever. It's like changing how we all think about a thing. Like we're making a meme or whatever. So this all needs to be play tested. These are just kind of good ideas. I think.
Yeah. What if instead of going and confronting Raditz directly, Goku and Piccolo created some really good memes? They got Raditz like to get canceled, and then he had to give up. Go. I'm sorry. You said it.
No.
And I had an intrusive thought.
I think you have a point. Yeah. Yeah, like how do we stochastically terrorize Raditz here?
I would say, just for the sake of explaining the draft rules we're working on, I think the idea with this would be something like, I should actually go through Tim's idea of how it works, which is you declare faction actions first. If you do this V shape, right, where it's like downtime rules at the beginning and end. So everyone we would declare as a faction, and you can spend all of your grit. There's no reason basically not to spend as much grit as you can, and there's limited ways you can spend it. So, we basically would just use all of our grit to do a number of moves, and then we would play through a whole adventure at the level of the scene, and at the end we would roll it out, and depending on what we did at the level of the scene as characters, like maybe that would influence it. That's where it's a little vague still. We could also, for the sake of the pod, like not do that and just do the faction level stuff. But in theory, like stealing back one kid from some ninjas would be probably more a scenic thing. But I guess it could also be represented by rolling warfare, right? I mean,
I think the first thing we need to do is break their resilience. Like we go over to like their base and we start kicking doors down or something. I don't know.
Oh, we like destroy their security so that later
Yeah.
we can come in and get.
Yeah, if we want to like pretend to be serious for a bit, yeah, we can like to take it seriously for a bit. Yeah, we could do that. That would be my suggestion.
So just terrorize the Vermilion streamers. Do the Vermilion streamers live in like they're like digital nomads who have like a big Airbnb
Content house.
situation? Yeah, content house.
They have a hype house, yeah.
And they have like a lot of water guns and like Nerf bow and arrows, but they probably also have like some actual guns now since they're doing.
Yeah, they're a militia.
Yeah, well, they have like the panel behind the like living room console that has like the rifles and stuff. But the problem is like you know, they have to get those out, and then they go and they confront the bear that's in the yard in the pool.
Right,
This is
right.
Tony Soprano's house. I'm bringing this back to
Yeah.
some of our ground inspirations.
But I think they're
like
militia.
They're the mob, but they're the militia, but they're also like goofy TikTok kids. So like there's like they're getting in their own way and in a couple different ways there.
Yeah. Right. The thumbnail is like, I whacked a Chechnyan rebel ?
Yeah, and it's like got a cash thumbnail for like no reason, you know, just like
I think it was an argument over money that started the whole thing.
Right. And it is like sick content in this world, at least. I'm not saying how this would fly IRL. Probably would do fine. Probably do better than whatever I'm doing.
Pine Barrens is one of the best episodes of The Sopranos. So
they were Chechens in The Sopranos?
Well, no. Or yes.
Okay.
They get into a fight with this like Russian mobster. And it's like a stupid petty fight. They're like literally picking up some money from him, and then they get into like a like personal fight, and then they like take him out to the Pine Barrens to kill him, but then he escapes because he is like a special forces guy, and they don't know whether they killed him or not. And that the whole episode is them like looking for this guy, and they never find him for the rest of the entire show. And they like several times they're like, "Is that guy gonna come back?"
Oh, that's forget endings, right? They should have redone the endings to Sopranos, right? And then when it goes black for a bit, right? When it goes black, then the next image is a close up on that Russian guy.
And then they answered that it was him, actually.
Yeah. And that would perfect. I should be teaching at Juilliard or wherever the fuck Senator Todd. Writing is tough. Not Juilliard.
Yeah, that's more of an acting school or a music school.
Yeah. I would hire you to teach writing somewhere, Jeff. I think for the purposes of Obsidian Orbs, we smash cut to whatever we're doing to the Vermilion streamers. So we're going to roll something and they're going to roll something. Mm-hmm. This also costs grit, and we only have a certain amount of grit per round, and then they also in theory would have actions, but I think that is also a big outstanding question, is maybe only PC factions like act and everyone else is just kind of reactive, but like a much bigger one could react in a bigger way. I don't know. We sort of have to figure that out, because I don't want to do the math of like keeping track of everyone's grit. That's annoying.
So the other faction has already acted in that they stole this child. So like it is these, I mean, I would, or maybe argue the actions of the other factions are the circumstances of the faction play, is they've done an action and then you or the players are reacting to it in the way that, like, that's generally how a game goes, is the scenario is presented to the players and the players make choices based on this stuff that's happening. And then in later campaigns, sometimes the players can create, and now we're doing this. And so then it's the other way around.
Right. I just mean like, I don't think I would want to keep track of like their grit every time, but there might be circumstances which it matters or is useful to do that. But I think for now they don't have grit. They just maybe like can do one thing, and the thing is more narrative in response. But pretty much you all are driving the.
You could also have like an action token system. I guess like everyone has one action or something.
Yeah, I mean it could be asymmetric, right? Where actually that would make. So maybe, Jeff, you have the solution is player character factions have grit, and you can do as many actions as you want, but it's about burning grit, so you're going to run out fast if you do like expensive things like going to war. Whereas the NPC factions just get a smaller number of like action tokens that are just by fiat like narrative.
Yeah, you could also do it by tier, or if you have tiers of, I don't know if you actually.
It lets you make the other factions do things that are really big and would cost more than a grid pool, but they just get to do things that are big swings because they're the enemies. They're the villains to be overcome.
Right, and the tiers would be basically like median scores, although we wouldn't call it that. But right, the tier 1, 2, 3, whatever would just be like D6, D8, D10, whatever as your main. You know, if you average your scores, so that would make sense. If you're like the whole Worshipful Company in Stillfleet, you would have like a bunch of action tokens per round, like 6 or something.
Yeah.
But if you're like the Vermilion streamers, you're really doing like one thing, and then you guys react. They can do one thing, you guys react. So I think that would give a little bit of a back and forth with very minimal management of like tools, unless you were taking on again like the entire empire, right? You were like, we 4 dudes are going to defeat the United States military, right? And then it would be hard for you to win for a number of reasons. They would have a bunch of actions.
Yeah.
So in this
action
scenario,
1, they find you. Action 2, they kill you.
Yeah,
Liam
pretty much.
Neeson.
Yeah, exactly. So in this scenario, you're going to the content house where the mob TikTokers live, and you're going to not steal back the baby immediately. You're going to like terrorize them, like terrify them.
Did you hang on? I realized. I just want to point out I meant streamers as in the item.
Oh, I meant like, I thought you meant,
because it was like red ribbon. I put Vermilion streamers. I just want to like for everyone.
I didn't get that.
I didn't get that. I'm sorry. That makes total sense.
Really good.
I was wondering, why are these people streamers?
They were just like holding their phones out the whole time, like, yeah, bro, we're doing this sick thing where we got hired by the rival of the King of New Jersey to steal this baby who's supposed to be like the chosen one, you know. And it's just like,
What up, YouTube? This is Dr. Giroux. I'm taking 2 kids and turning them into cyborgs.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we could continue. I just want to make that clear in case anyone was like wondering sometime in the future.
No, I appreciate that. Also, Vex got it. Y'all are just on another level.
Thank you.
So, okay, you propose to use one of your or some of your grit to either, you could use an attack, which would degrade basically their dice, their scores. You could also do spying, which would either give you, it would basically give you secrets, give you like information, so you could get the lay of the land. You could also do diplomacy. You could do any number of things here, and we're testing them out. So
yeah, I would like to attack their resilience score.
Great. Then you are going to burn 4 grit, so 4 comes off 18. So I'm going to write down you have 14 left. Mm-hmm. And you're going to roll D warfare, which you have a D10, and they roll D resilience. So the question is, what is their resilience? Do we just want to give them average scores of like D6 or D8 or something?
Yeah, I feel like we're fighting like D8s makes sense, because then we're fighting, an enemy that's difficult to defeat as long as we're smart.
Okay.
Difficult but possible as long as we're smart.
Okay, so I'm rolling a D10, right?
Yeah, you're rolling a D10, and I guess I'm going to roll a D8 on a...
Oh, I got a 1.
Oh, no.
I got a 1, actually.
Great.
I'm going to roll in the Stillfleet.
Completely whiffed this shit, honestly.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. Oh, no, yeah, everything moved around. Where's the open, where's the open dice rolling, like, playing games channel?
It's the 2, you just go to the chat and the like channel 1 or A.
Oh, you're for using...
Yeah, I got it. So
this is my fault because I use physical dice, and I almost every time we play, I almost never do it. Because
do you want me to just roll a D8? I have one.
No,
right here.
No. I just wanted to see which chat. Sorry, we'll cut this. All right, I rolled a 7. So I guess the question is, if unsuccessful, temporarily reduce your D warfare score by 1 step for this round. So. Jeff, do you want to narrate how this all goes wrong and how we are effectively wounded? Like, we're less capable of hurting them in the near future.
So we like show up to attack their hot tub, right? And it's like an electric hot tub, and we accidentally like when I like we all try to like go at it with like metal bats, but we accidentally electrocute ourselves.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like
we accidentally open up a septic like tube or something.
I love this septic tube coming out of the hot tub.
It has to come out the hot tub. You know how many people are in that fucking group?
The hot tub serves multiple purposes. It's also a toilet. It's also a bidet.
It's not also a toilet. It's just that's how dirty they are because they're streamers.
I'm picturing a very cartoonish, a ripped skunk with a bald like tonsure with a metal baseball bat hits the bottom of a hot tub where some pipe is really, really hard, and it breaks, but it like shoots just like sewage back at him.
Stream of sewage.
Yeah, like completely all over us. And
There is definitely a like skunk-shaped hole in the wall, the exterior wall.
Well, they obviously have like a compound, like fucked up like villa wall. You know, I know what those
Yeah,
walls
yeah,
are
yeah.
called.
Well, there's multiple walls that have had the shape like.
What are the
imprinted.
walls around a villa called anyway? You know the ones I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think I would
The
just
one
call
in
them a wall.
Scarface, right? Doesn't he have like a bit of?
It's just a walled
Palisade?
compound, right?
Yeah, probably just a wall. I mean, Palisade sounds nicer, I think. All right, well, we still have 14 grit, so we can attack again, but we have a lower warfare. We could also use spying, social engineering to try to change the situation in some way. We could build up, which temporarily increases the score for the next 2 rounds, basically. And if we get a maximum on the roll, we permanently increase the score.
But okay, so could we just build up and then attack? Look, could we just build up, and then attack for our last action?
Yeah, we want to do the most slow. Well, each turn in a modern game represents roughly a month of the faction's activity. We could say this game is more like a Blister Critters, where we said it'd be about a week because it's faster and zanier. But even
I
so,
like the idea of us building up and we're just powering up outside this villa, just going.
for
Yeah.
weeks at a time.
Yeah,
Like, cause who's gonna stop us?
yeah, we're outside their property. They can't do anything.
Well,
Yeah.
they're going to spend their action tokens to stop you, and also there's other factions in play. We've defined the 10. What's it called? The 10.
Yeah, but
10
you have to spend part of your brain power figuring that out. So, balls in your court, wife.
You're saying I've already lost. I've made a situation where no matter what I do, I lose.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump ahead. So you're going to use build up. Build up costs 8 grit. So that's the idea. It would be very hard to permanently, or even for 2 months at a time,
Okay.
like be stronger than you are. Like, what would that mean? It would mean sort of like engineering a scenario where suddenly, you get a bunch of outside forces to help you, whatever.
I'm glad you're already
Go
balanced.
even further beyond. Yeah.
What is it you want to build up? Warfare or a different score? It's like score specific if you're trying to build up score. You can also try to build up to get resources, which is like really, really useful tech, which we don't have a lot written down. And it should also be other kinds of things here. I'll list some, and it's by type. So we have like warfare resources would be like unconventional weaponry, cache of power armor, spacecraft, reality assertions. This is like an anti-health science net.
can I
Resilience
get a-
resources. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I get a Blackhawk?
Yeah, that would be like a warfare. Yeah, so do you want to build up to not change our score, but to get something that would make a huge difference in this?
Yeah,
Battle.
helicopter.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you're going to shoot like Hellfire missiles at streamers?
Oh, wait. No. We can't do that. Hang on. Sorry. We need the baby.
Oh, yeah, the
Helicopters
babies-
famously do rescue people. That's one of their main things that they do.
I think the other thing helicopters are famous for is killing.
Crashing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, being the worst way to transport people.
Yeah.
I think we could build up. Okay, I want to spend some grit to build up morale resources like a winery or opera house.
What?
We're building a winery to attract a baby.
To attract a baby, yeah. We're just like not doing our jobs at all and still cashing that check from the King of New Jersey. This feels so close to reality. All right,
Yeah,
so
we're pivoting to wine.
Yeah, we're the Lincoln Project.
We already
actually.
pivoted to video.
all right, Jeff, do you want to burn 8 grit to get a bunch of military weaponry, basically?
No, I already did the first action, so I think I will leave the other actions to y'all.
Okay.
Are we pivoting to wine? Is that?
No, we're not pivoting to wine. All right, I'm gonna say let's do spying. We're gonna burn 3 grit to spy and learn what's going on with the baby. Why did they take the baby? So we now have 11 grit. I have to roll influence, and does someone want to roll their morale
I got
against
you.
our
It's a D8.
Yeah, let's say it's D8. We only have D6 influence. Do we want to burn grit on this?
I thought we had to.
We have to burn 3 to use the power, but do you want to burn 3, 6, or 9 to boost it? Because we're rolling a D6 versus a D8. We could just, hope for the best.
Do you want to know what I rolled, or should I keep that secret? Because I did roll.
Keep it secret. Keep it secret. Here, I'm gonna roll a D6. I got a 1.
We're doing great. Yeah, so I got a 5.
Great.
Hmm.
Okay, so I think now we see all three of us trying to sneak in. Maybe we don't try to sneak in. We send the local kids who work at the butchery.
Oh, I can shapeshift.
Oh, and the shapeshifter, sure. But you're all caught because the streamers have some sort of tech, and we still don't know from whom, but they have the ability to sort of see that you're disguised.
We
and-
bribed the kids with T-shirts for our faction, and they wore them to the infiltration.
Ophidian orbs, yeah.
They wore obsidian orbs, yeah, big chopped butts, t-shirts,
Yeah.
and really stood out. I think I am making plans the whole time for the winery, the winery crush, nursery. That's really good. That's really good.
It's I don't know if you remember. I feel like I was talking to someone about this. Maybe it was one of the two of you recently. There was a fake bar in the East Village a number of years ago. They rented a storefront and like an empty storefront and put a bunch of giant posters covering the entire windows, and it was basically New York's first and only bar for pregnant women, judgment-free zone. And a lot of people were like, is this real? And got very mad at it online. It was an interesting little
Wow. So much for judgment free. Well, I guess they
well,
were
it
inside.
is legal to serve a pregnant customer alcohol in New York. You may discourage it, but you cannot refuse service.
I thought there was another rule that isn't there a rule that like bartenders can choose to refuse any service anyway?
Yes, but you can't refuse because they're pregnant.
Oh, you could just say, "Well, that lady has bad vibes."
Yes, but
Yeah, that's nice.
if you could get like caught for it, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But who's bringing that case, right? Because someone has to be like, okay, I'm going to arrest this person and I'm going to prosecute it, and I feel like that would never happen, right?
Well, if say the pregnant woman was the daughter of a senator.
She just wanted to get drunk.
Yeah,
But that
could,
like then the
could get you in
senator-
trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, she wanted an espresso martini.
Well, I think that's the conversation we're having after a failed spy mission. Ben, do you want to use some faction actions?
Yeah, we're giving up and we're just attacking head on. We've tried the smart stuff. It's time to just go all
You've
in.
also tried this already, but okay.
Well, no, the first one we were just trying to destroy the security. Now,
right.
We're not trying to destroy the security. We're just plowing through to get the child back.
Mhm.
So is this a special action where we're just trying to get the child? We're not actually trying to lower their capacity to do something specifically. Like that would be a nice if it happens, but
We're not lowering capacity. We are juggernauting into this place and grabbing
Cool.
the child.
then I think that's actually, maybe we'll model this as environmental control, which is we're trying to control something at their physical environment, and we're not necessarily trying to hurt them, but we're trying to like have control over it. And not permanently, we're not like taking it from them through warfare. In this case, we're just like trying to make sure, like maybe control like the lights and locks, the windows, whatever. We're trying to do a heist, right? So that costs 6 grit, but allows us to roll knowledge. And then it is straight up, we're trying to get a 6 on knowledge. So we have 11 grit left. We have to spend 6. If we boost it, you're just rolling. We have a D8 knowledge. So we're rolling a D8 and, D8 plus 3. That would cost us 9 grit, maybe not 2 grit, but that would be pretty good odds of just stealing the baby back.
Yeah, I think let's try it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
Excellent.
I'm rolling the D8. Folks, we're rolling great tonight. I got a 2, not a 1.
So 2 plus 3 is a 5. So you're 1 point off from success.
Yeah.
I think we've located the baby at least, right?
Yeah, but what do they roll?
Well, this is just a 6 or higher. This is environmental control is just a difficulty because it's like what about what environment are you trying to change, right? So here you're trying to like break into a armed place and do a heist. So it's like normal hard. I think they're not, these guys aren't geniuses, but they apparently have a bunch of guns and money.
But I guess so. We've broken in using the Makankosapo, but we accidentally impaled all of us with the Makankosapo.
Okay, so we're like really physically injured, but we
Yeah.
got like this close. We almost got the baby.
Mhm.
So Ben, where's the baby now? That we're injured, slinking away. We've seen the baby. We've like
The
confirmed
baby was
baby's-
right next to the hot tub.
Where baby should not be, to be honest.
Yes.
Really shouldn't be. Yeah.
Not in the hot tub, just next to the hot tub.
It shouldn't be next to the hot tub either. What about the fumes?
The fumes.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, the nerd soup fumes. They're really unhygienic.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out. So I think that round that would
Next
be like
time
all our-
on Dragon Ball Z. Sorry, you said it, so I had to finish the sentence.
Yeah, obsidian orbs. Next time obsidian orbs, we'll find out.
Ophidian or
Ophidian, right? Sorry, Oh, I keep doing that. Damn.
Next time on Ophidian Orbs.
Well, okay, so that's a complete round, maybe, of draft rules for this this mechanic. Obviously, we can do some tweaking. We can come up with a bunch of stuff, but you get the idea. And if we did this per game, then the games could come actually with chapters that lay out like sample factions and specific rules for that setting that make more sense. What do you all think? Just pause for thoughts and suggestions. This is the first time we've ever walked this thing outside.
I mean, we basically did 3 scenes in about 15 to 20 minutes of gameplay, which is way faster than doing it as a scene.
Yeah, because we have Gestalt score, so all of us share D10 warfare, D6 resilience, whatever. So we're not like checking our own sheets. We have one big sheet in front of us, which would probably should make like a Google Doc template or something. I don't know.
Right, and we came up with the premise for an entire scene and whittled it down to a roll to determine whether the premise worked or not. And so it didn't have to be the like many small choices create a story. It was the here is one plot beat, and we're gonna see which direction it goes.
Yeah, and I think I did a fairly poor job in sort of pseudo GMing that, or thank you for GMing with me, but like setting up some of that, and the reactions were fairly cartoonish. We just slink away with Wile E. Coyote style, whereas the way to do it, I think, is more like Fiasco, which is like, okay, what changes? Like every failure is still a change, and it pushes the story forward. So that's on me. I usually feel like I'm more, on point. I haven't had a lot of prep time today, and my hair is just trying to make me look bad. To be honest, it's doing its own serpent orb shout out.
Yoga time.
Yeah, I think that could work where we come up with cool scene ideas and we roll it out, and no matter what, there's a big tilt, and it doesn't require a ton of thought because they're big. They're like scenes in a movie, exactly like we did it. They're scenes from a show you've already seen in a way in your head. As opposed to the blow by blow of like a D&D style game where you're like, I don't know what's behind the door. Let's like everyone spend a bunch of time investigating the door, Jeff, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I need to see if there's like a cool interface that we could look at for the numbers. That's what I would like.
I can share you the draft rules.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to try it a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's 8:30, so I think the question is: do we want to do something else? Like,
Do you want to save the baby?
Do you want to save the baby? Yeah. So we want to go ahead another round.
Let's try another round. Actually, I think I need more time to actually think about it.
Okay.
Unless you want me to
Hit me. This is we've run out of money at the blackjack table, and you've just said hit me.
Sure. So I think a couple things happen. I think the King of New Jersey uses a move to pack you, so you're gonna have to roll D resilience, and you don't have enough grit to boost. So someone has to roll a D6, and the king is sending some. We'll say this is not the full army of New Jersey, which is like D12. This will just be like local tough guys. So if one of you wants to make up like who are the mercenaries that the king hires to basically buff us up, because it's still automatically delivering like a cryptocurrency to our crypto wallet.
Oh my god, I rolled another one.
Great.
I mean, I was gonna say I think it's about 6 Chris Christies of varying heights. So you sort of have Chris Christies between the height of like 6 inches tall
The
and 45 feet tall.
It's just 6 like out of shape normal like I don't know, Trumpian
I
weirdos.
don't know if he's out of shape.
I don't
He's
actually
like
haven't seen him in a
big.
while. I don't know how Chris Christie looks now.
He's an incredibly fat man. I think we can acknowledge that Chris
We can
Christie
say
sort of
he's out
is
of
a,
shape.
is a caricature.
I
Of,
don't think we can. Hang on.
I've seen him in
Wait a minute.
person.
He got a 5. Or
He's also not very tall. I think he's like 5'5".
The Chris Christie-ish sort of
I'm
cheapo
calling that.
mercenaries got a 5. So they degrade our warfare even further. So it was a D8, and then it would have gone back to D10, but now it is a D8 again for another round. The Vermilion streamers are trying to get away from us. So I think that would probably be a resilience roll, save a D8. So does someone want to roll for them?
Wait, how are they going to get away from us when we're at their house?
Well, they're going to try to leave with the baby, so we don't know where they are.
Ah, okay.
All right, so they're rolling a D8. They've gotten an 8. We're rolling so well for them.
I guess we couldn't technically beat that because we can't burn grit. So this would probably be, I don't know, a knowledge roll or something. But so they've left. So we don't know where the baby is, I think. And then let's say that the 10. What is the name of the podcast? 10 people. So
Yeah,
yeah,
10 guys.
10 friends. 10 friends. 10 friends is going to roll to I think degrade our knowledge by like making it harder for us to find the baby.
Like we got
So
dumber.
I think we have to roll resilience again. They're trying to basically do like a sabotage. We can figure out what this really means, non-metaphorically. Like, how are they sabotaging our ability? Maybe just take our phones, like EMP the butchery, so we can't use our phones to find the baby. But basically, we need to roll another D6, and they're going to roll a D8 to do that. So let's see. I'm going to roll a D8. They got a 4.
Jeff, do you want to
Please
roll a
tell me
D6?
you rolled a 5 or 6.
I haven't rolled it yet. I got a 4.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say we win this tie just because it's a string of L's and it feels bad. So all right.
Does
so they
it
don't
feel bad? I feel great.
well good for you, Jeff. They don't successfully reduce our scores. Maybe they cause some confusion and our phones are damaged. But it doesn't mechanically cause us to suffer. I think it probably hurts our pride further.
I think they just accidentally turn off all the phones in New Jersey, like causing them problems too.
Oh, sure. That makes sense.
They've done sort of a Bridgegate thing, but with phones.
Yeah. We open again. So we come back from commercial break. Ophidian orbs, and the orbs shoot past the screen and wipe into the butchery. We're surrounded by pork and a couple sad teenagers in cool shirts. What's our game plan? What do we want to do? We once again have 18 grit to spend on various faction moves.
Right, and we don't know where this child is. None of the phones in New Jersey work, and we have repeatedly embarrassed ourselves against these streamers.
We got beaten up by guys who look like Chris Christie, and then they just like left.
Yeah. One of them was 45 feet tall, so I think it's fair to say that makes
just
sense.
Punched us. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just covered in cartoon sort of bandages, right? Like everything's bandaged. It doesn't really help.
Right. I'm now 2-dimensional.
Oh darn.
And what are our characters' names? My name is going to be Cayenne in the great tradition of naming things after vegetables.
Okay.
What are y'all's characters' names?
English breakfast.
Okay, love that.
Oh man, I can't think of an alternative to Chaozu is the problem because it's just a normal name.
Is it?
I mean, it's like I feel like it's a character name rather than a what is his name based on?
Yeah, just do a direct translation of the name.
Yeah. Okay. It's a pun on the Chinese food jiaozi called gyoza in Japanese, and potstick
so
in
you
English.
could be-
So I'm
you could be-
gyoza. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, close enough.
Just be shrimp dumpling. Okay, gyoza. Cool.
I could have picked a better tea name. I don't know.
Do you want to call yourself Earl Grey? Do you want to be
Oh, that's
Lapsang
a-
Souchong?
Oh shit, Earl Grey is pretty
Wanna
good
be-
though.
Oh, Gray's pretty good. Last Song Shushang's good too. That's a good rap song.
If I can't say it so quickly.
All right, cayenne, Earl Grey, and gyoza. Oh, and I described them. I described shumai earlier. No, gyoza's pork pot sticker style dumplings, crescent dumplings. Okay. The three of us are in the butchery with our teen helper.
Oh my god, I just realized why they're called Mayan Shu. Because they're shumai. I'm sorry.
Right.
What are we gonna do to get this kid back? The kid's name is Rice Ball, right? We already that's
Yeah.
canon. That was earlier in the episode. Okay.
I am Earl Grey.
I guess we could ask around.
We can do surgeries to get money.
This is like turning into like a BBL clinic. Like what?
I didn't say that one. I just said surgery.
Elective
Why would
surgery.
we do BBLs? That makes a lot of sense.
I think we need capital.
If we're doing BBLs, you know who gets BBLs is streamers.
We could do the buckles.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
you
can do
just
the
wanna-
buckle fat removal.
This is great. We want to like entice them to out themselves, like where they are, by offering cheap BBLs, safe, cheap BBLs.
Yeah, BBLs and buckle fat removals.
No,
But you get both ends.
I think they would
You
actually
take the buckle
appreciate
fat
more.
and you put it in the.
Oh, yeah.
I get it. Yeah, just a little lipo. No, it's fine. Doesn't have to be BBL. Okay.
No,
So in that case,
if
Oh,
it's
go ahead.
unsafe, the streamers will like it more.
I think this is actually kind of spying, but it's so maybe these names need to be changed. But I feel like this would be influence, right? Because we're trying to kind of lie to people or like set up a weird like scam, like a a Better Call Saul style thing where it's a real thing, but there's a reason behind it. And so
I mean, it's
spying
scam is
would
great. It is a
roll-
scam.
It is a scam, so we should have a thing called scam. Okay, so instead of rolling resilience, because we're not really trying to like steal from them at this point. We're trying to like get info. So I think morale would probably make more sense, or knowledge even. De-influence versus their knowledge. Can they see through our obvious scam? What do y'all think?
Okay.
All right.
I mean, a scam also makes sense because you bring someone with false pretenses, which mechanically would theoretically lower their resilience to it. And as long as they don't catch it, then they're going to give up something that they didn't expect to give up, which is
Right.
how you interface with a scam.
I think the reason, so I will say it costs more grit. So spying costs 3 grit. It allows us to roll influence versus their resilience to learn anything, winning one thing. For scam, I think we're rolling influence versus their knowledge, which is not covered by the rules, but I'm going to say scam and it costs 4 grit because it's more complicated. Like there's more wheels in motion that could go wrong. But I think so same idea. So sort of, I think there's 2 ways to view the faction rules. One is a little more board game like strategic, like what do I want to roll against whom? And I actually like the idea of information transparency. I'm a little convinced by, again, like recently a bunch of games by Spencer Campbell where like we know what, like we would know what all the factions have dice wise, so that wouldn't be a mystery. It's just like, yeah, they're always going to roll a d8, so fuck, we need to like engineer a situation where we can beat them. So okay, does someone want to roll our influence, which is a d6? Do we want to burn grit on this? It costs 4 just to do the action, so it takes us to 14.
I feel like we should burn at least 3,
Yeah.
given how well we've been doing.
Yeah, I think so.
Shall I roll our d6 for our scam? We got another 2, so that's a 5.
Oh, for real?
Wow. All right.
We're rolling
wait.
hot tonight, gents.
Oh, but a 5. So they're rolling a d8. So we have a pretty good chance. We just have to. They have to get a 5 or lower, and we win.
Yes.
I'm gonna hit roll. I'm also in the channel, so you'll see in other great games roll. They got a 7.
Yo, they're
Yeah.
so good at this. They are so hard to beat.
They're like the strongest faction in the game.
We're looking like real fucking losers.
It's great. We're renamed the loser squad. All the teens like crossed out like spheres and wrote losers.
Damn. I'm gonna crash out.
Does that mean you're taking off, Jeff? Or
No, I meant I think Earl Grey is gonna fucking rage.
well, Jeff. What do you want to do next? Let's say it's your turn. There's 11 grit left, so you could do anything. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna buff our warfare. Wait, did I do math correctly? Yeah. Leaves us with 3 grit. Yeah, I'm gonna power up.
Okay. If you want to power up, so that is build up. So you can roll 8 grit, and you're rolling morale versus the current versus difficulty based on the current score you're trying to raise. Oh, that's smart. Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh wow, that's like really intuitive and makes it harder to dump morale.
Yeah, exactly. It makes morale way more useful. I think that's why Tim wrote it that way. So again, big
Yeah.
shout
Oh, damn. You already thought of my plan.
So we'd be rolling a D4. We would pretty much have to burn grit because we currently have a D8 and we're trying to get back to a D10.
Uh-huh.
And then for the next turn, when it would normally go back, it would be 1 higher. So it'd go to D12 for another turn.
Okay, how about this? Can we all of their scores are D8? Is that what we're saying here?
That's what we said. Maybe we made them too strong and it's our fault, but
okay, so how about and our knowledge and our warfare is down now, or
no, our knowledge is D8. Our warfare is also D8 for this round because we were attacked by the king.
What can I use our knowledge to do?
We can do research, which would get fancy knowledge. So not necessarily a secret from someone else, but something just about the world. And we can also learn powers that we could try to learn powers that would help us in combat, but it wouldn't immediately hurt anyone, right? So like in Stillfleet, you could learn health. You could do research on the health science and then later use it. And if later,
yeah, let's do some research on cyberization.
All right, we're gonna do cyber warfare research. So roll a D8.
Cyborging ourselves.
Oh, got it. Oh, it's like cybernetics. Like we want to be ripped.
We've called Dr. Giraud, yeah.
Or I am Dr. Giraud.
Right. I'll be your guinea pig, or should I say guinea skunk?
I would rather you never say that.
I won't say anything, boss. Okay, roll a D8, and you're trying to get a 6 or higher. Do you want to burn grit? It costs 6 grit to do research. It gives you a permanent power.
I'm just gonna roll in the whoops. What were you rolling in the
I was
channel?
rolling other grit games just to roll in a text channel because we no longer have the one-offs text channel.
All right, you're right.
Well, so we do because you just click the little dialogue box on the audio channel and you have a text channel.
But you have to be
and you don't have to join the voice. I see. We do indeed. You are correct.
Yeah.
I see. Correct.
That's why I took away the written ones because they're dual purpose.
Yep. No, they made Discord better. Good job, them.
There, I'm gonna roll a D8. It's a 3. It's the highest I've rolled so far.
Do you want to retcon that you burnt grit to get to 6? You only have to burn the 3 grit.
Oh, fine.
All right. So that's all our grit with the 6 plus 3, but that means we researched and we successfully learned a power.
It seems like you're afraid of failure.
And, I love a podcast episode that's just a bunch of rolls that are like, oh, that's a failure. That's a failure.
What I like about it is that we are also the ones rolling for our enemies. So we are both rolling pretty well and pretty poorly.
I haven't
but
rolled
just sort of in a consistent manner, despite the level of randomness.
Oh, it's true, and also as I said before, again, if I prepped better, thought about it differently, I would have like a better response than just like, oops, we fail. It'd be like, okay, the plot advances in this interesting way. This is the first time we're doing this, so I'm also learning the system that we just wrote. Okay, well, Jeff, what is the power? What is the cool thing that we can now do?
We are now cyborgs.
Okay.
I don't think that was that was pretty much it.
That was clear. Yeah, no, you're right. What does it mean that we're cyborgs? Like what would that enable?
So it means that we're more than human.
In Dragon Ball Z terms, you don't run out of energy.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Your stamina is infinite.
You're like solar powered.
Yeah, 17 and 18 have infinite energy.
That seems unfair, but cool. Okay, got it.
You,
So,
as long if you can overpower them, if you are stronger than them, you can beat them. But if you are evenly matched with them or weaker than them, they will beat you because they will just stall you out.
All right.
okay, so that would allow us to sustain ourselves in a long fight, which is generally useful. But there's no immediate, like, I guess that's the whole point of research. It doesn't enable us to do anything this round anyway, so we have to survive another round of attacks from our enemies, basically.
I think mechanically what it could mean is that we have a grit recovery.
Oh, okay. But would it happen? Interesting. So we could do more every round. That's useful. That's really, so we gain like permanent grit.
We would regenerate grit at some sort of sensible level if we are cyborgs like that.
Right. So currently you regenerate all your grit every round to represent that whether it's a week or a month, like some unit of time has passed, people have come and gone from the faction, whatever, but it sort of resets. Now that does raise the question, should that be the case? We did that for simplicity after considering some other options, but it could be more textured or different. One thing that occurs to me that you could do is have cyborg be a type of resource you gain. So this would be called a resource in the rules. And that resource would allow you to immediately roll some type of die, one of your scores, and gain that much grit back. So you could kind of chain actions. And then maybe every time you can roll that and get that grit boost.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So whether it's, again, is it resilience? Is it not? Like, what makes more sense? I guess if it's physical,
Probably
thing,
resilience.
Resilience makes sense.
Yeah.
So we have 2 faction grit. We roll a d6 and gain back that much, which might enable us to then, we can attack, we can spy.
Yeah, do another thing.
So
Yeah, it works.
You want to roll a d6? Somebody?
Got it. 5.
Great. Okay.
Amazing.
That gives us 7. So we're back to 7. And
I feel like we have to do a big move. That's
we gotta do something cool. Sorry, I was just gonna say Vex reminds us that being a cyborg, what it means as a power is you're cool. That's the power.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
true.
Even though we're taking L's all the time, we're cool.
You
But,
have like a
we're not-
bandana
cool.
and some leg warmers.
This is the training montage, right, Jeff? Is your character, Earl Grey has remade us. So instead of like a kind of like over the hill skunk warrior and like whatever Yoza's deal is, we're suddenly like, metallic and chrome and spry and just like doing cool kata, and all the teens in the town are watching us like, man, those are the coolest guys who run that.
Well, you all look like Deathlock.
Yeah, but with like large
Marvel
sandwiches.
character. No, yeah, Deathlock has like a half chromed face.
Yeah, Deathlock looks cool as shit if I recall the actual 90s.
Yeah, every teenager thinks Deathlock looks cool.
Do we want to attack? Do we want to spy? Do we want to do something else?
Attack is our best option, I think, because we're good at it.
It's an informed ability at this point.
We do not know where the baby is.
We
Right.
could just terrorize them until they give us a baby.
So you want to like find the people who care about the Vermilion streamers, just terrorize streamers fans.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's one way.
All right.
That's what
Well,
I would do in real life, actually, if I really was going to go about this.
from a mechanical point of view, spying costs 3 and attacking costs 4. So we could spy and then attack, or we can attack and boost. So 1 roll, but we add +3.
Okay, spy then.
Okay, spy
Yeah,
to
I
try
guess-
to find out.
Yeah, that makes
So we're going to roll D-influence, which is D6, and they're going to roll D-resilience, which is D8, because the streamers have a lot of money. So they're somewhere else.
right.
And we're
I'm
going
gonna roll the D8 and I'm gonna try to get a low roll.
Okay. Jeff, do you want to roll the D6 for our team?
I truly don't.
Okay, well I did roll a 3, so that is good.
4.
Okay, cool. Because I did not get that. You got it.
Wait, what'd you roll?
Roll a 2.
Oh God. All right. So we
I
have
thought you rolled a 4 after I said I didn't want to roll.
we have 4 grit left, which is enough to attack, or we could just spy again or scam. I I guess it was a mistake giving them all D8s because it kind of doesn't matter what we pick in a way. But whatever. It's a playtest.
That's why I was saying attack is because our attack is higher than their.
Oh,
that's
right.
That's our one die that's better than theirs.
Well, all right. So do we want to attack? So roll a D. Well, in this case, it's a D8 still because we got beaten up by the King's men. The King of New Jersey. Damn it, hate that guy. I guess do we just want to roll? So it's D8 versus D8. We can't boost. Just beat up random streamer fans until they tell us where the baby is, or what is the goal? Sorry, to use the attack move, technically you're reducing the scores of another faction. So we could try to do that. I mean, that would be really useful.
But this is our final move, right?
For this round, yeah. And probably, yes, for this episode of Obsidian Orbs.
Because I feel like what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the child. And what is a role that we can do to get the child?
I mean, I really think that would be a scene by scene, like that would be the adventure, is like the getting the child part. And then the faction stuff would actually be around it in the real version of this. I think that would be more like a normal,
I see. Okay.
story. So we're doing it a bit weird, but I do wonder if we tried to make it fit with the tools we have. If we just say, we have one roll left, right? We have enough for one roll. So, okay, what do we want to roll? Do we want to roll our highest score, which is a D8, either warfare or knowledge? I think it would, again, be environmental control. It'd be rolling knowledge. So we'd be spending the rules a little in the grid. But, okay, we're rolling knowledge, and we're trying to get probably a 6 or higher. But we could also say we've tried it before. The issue is we canonically just failed. I think the most fun thing to do is say we won that last roll and we know where the kid is. And then it makes more sense to say we're stealing the kid, right?
Yeah. But
Jeff, are you aligned to do some light cheating on our own behalf in our own playtest?
Nah, I think we should just take L's for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, here's Vex did say taking L's is training, and that is true.
Yeah, I would say
so maybe because of the amount of failure we've had, we did get a Zenkai boost.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, actually, philosophically, if your game should be able to handle whether you fail or succeed. I actually believe this.
I also believe this. I completely agree. And that's what I meant by this is more I'm tired and haven't prepped anything. And so my GMing is just like, yeah, whatever. Okay, we failed. But I think in actuality, the failures, and that is also should be written in the rules. So this is also about playtest notes for how we're writing up the MVP version of these rules, which is like, if this, then that. So if you succeed, you get the thing. If you fail, it's not just you don't get the thing, something changes.
I mean, we've basically destroyed a lot of New Jersey in this, right? Like the cell phone infrastructure is gone. We're covered in sewage. We've lost
New Jersey
the
was
location
already
of the
covered in
child.
sewage.
Even worse, we don't even know where, like, on what compound this child is on. So, like, I feel like we're in a dire situation.
I think the child's in Maldives.
Just got on the plane.
Are you doing an Angola Maldives reference with this? The Ryan North super spy character?
I think I wasn't supposed to. Oh,
well,
I didn't mean to bring Angola.
Too late now. All right. Well, I mean, Jeff, you're right. So technically, we would need to, which would actually be more in keeping with the genre we're lampooning, right? It's just like next time on. Like there's no sense of closure. It just keeps going. We keep fighting guys. We keep getting a sort of Zenkai boost.
Raditz has taken Gohan to space.
Right. Exactly. We're on it's another fucking planet at this point.
He collected the Dragon Balls. He wished for immortality. He's taken Gohan to space. Gohan works for Frieza now.
Man, so much stuff happened in that show. I really just got to rewatch it. It's been a long time.
I think it's messed up when Gohan wanted like a piece of pudding, and then Krillin was like, "No, you're not having a spoonful of pudding. It's all for me because I'm a grown man and you're a child, and fuck you."
I don't remember what you're talking about.
Oh, it's because I made it up.
It didn't even make. I said a piece of pudding for one, which
Right.
Well,
Unit, but all right. Well, here's what I'm going to say. We have 2 minutes left. It'll see me 1 minute. Why don't we just roll it as though we had succeeded, just to see what would happen if in this bifurcating alternate reality. So in real reality, we failed. We need to go through the harsh cycles of failure and Zenkai boost to get to the point where we could ever.
yeah. So this is our die now. We have one of these, a D. I don't know how many sides this one is. It's a lot of them, at least 50.
Oh, this is our we're gathering all the chi from across New Jersey.
Yeah.
All of the delis are contributing, all of the bodegas, all of the taquerias. We are getting all their power in order to make one move, which is steal the baby back. Because they're not in Maldives, they're just at, I don't know, the airport. Great. I guess roll a die.
Rolling a D50.
Great.
Does someone want to roll a D8 against?
I'll roll a D8 on the
you roll actually
in the channel. I'll do it in the proper channel.
I got a 25. So
well, then I'm going to stop rolling because okay, great. We got the baby back. Great. That was very satisfying, right? Totally earned. Totally earned.
You're giggling.
All right. Thanks for playing Ophidian Orbs Y, our one-time only grit system game that is not based on any existing IP by very large media companies in Japan.
Like 2.5 Men.
It's definitely not the 2.5 Man RPG. That's great. No, thanks for playtesting the factionals. I will talk to Tim and Chris and loop y'all, and I'll give you all the doc.
I don't even know who Tim is.
He's the guy who designs game stuff. I don't know. Reached out about faction ideas.
Tim Heidecker?
No.
Tim Robinson?
Also,
I'm thinking of other Tim Russ.
Tim Allen?
Oh, definitely Tim Allen. Yeah.
Definitely Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Oh, Tim Heidegger is Tim and Eric Tim. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That was bothering me. All right. Thanks as usual, Vex, for making the chat funny. And thanks to anyone who listens to this now or in the future. This has been not really the Sometimes Dream, but Ophidian Orb Y and a playtest of some new grid system games in development. But really big thanks to Ben and Jeff, as usual, for making fun game stuff. I'm going to click end stream.
We pivoted.
We pivoted. We figured it out.
All right. I think that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I think so too. All right.
You ever think about oh, yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow. I got stuff.
All right, that was it. That's the end.